The stars looked cold through the window of the Vrelian warship. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge watching the empty space ahead. His green skin reflected the blue lights of the control panels. He was tall like all Vrelians, with 4 arms and eyes that could see in the dark. Behind him, 20 soldiers waited for orders. They were the best fighters in the Vrelian Empire. "Captain, we found something," said the scanner officer. His voice was excited. "A small ship. Human design. Just one life form inside," Hyun smiled. Humans were weak creatures. Everyone in the galaxy knew this. They had soft skin, slow reflexes, and died easily. The Empire had been watching Earth for years, waiting for the right time to take their colonies. Today would be a good day to start. "Bring us closer," Hyun ordered. "Prepare the boarding team." The human ship was small and old. It looked like a cargo vessel, the kind that carried food or mining equipment between planets. The scan showed no weapons, no shields, nothing dangerous. Just one human inside. Hyun felt pleased. This would be easy. His ship moved next to the human vessel. The boarding tube extended and attached with a soft thud. Air pressure equalized. The door opened. "Remember," Hyun told his soldiers, "humans break easily. Don't kill this one. We need information about their colonies." The soldiers moved through the tube and into the human ship. Hyun followed them, his 4 hands resting on his weapons. The inside of the ship was simple and clean. Metal walls, dim lights, and the smell of recycled air. They walked through a narrow hallway toward the cargo bay. The bay door was open. Inside, standing alone in the middle of the empty room, was a human woman. She was small compared to the Vrelians, maybe reaching up to Hyun's chest. She had dark hair tied back and she wore simple clothes, a gray jacket and black pants. No armor, no weapons that Hyun could see. She was smiling. "Hello," the woman said. Her voice was calm. "I'm Ji-woo. Welcome to my ship." Hyun stepped forward. His soldiers surrounded her, weapons pointed at her head. Any normal creature would be afraid. Any normal creature would beg for mercy. But this human just stood there, hands at her sides, still smiling. "You are now a prisoner of the Vrelian Empire," Hyun announced. "Your ship belongs to us. You will tell us everything about human colonies in this sector." "Will I?" Ji-woo asked. She sounded almost amused. "Disarm her," Hyun ordered. "Search her for weapons." Ji-woo raised her hand slowly above her head. As she did, her smile grew wider. "That's your first mistake," she said quietly. The Vrelian soldiers looked at each other, confused. What did she mean? She had no weapons. She was alone. She was just a human. 2 soldiers moved forward to grab her arms. Then the lights went out. For 3 seconds, the cargo bay was completely dark. Hyun's eyes adjusted quickly. Vrelians could see in darkness better than most species. But in those 3 seconds, he saw something that made his blood cold. The human woman moved. Her hands came down and small metal devices appeared in her palms. They glowed with a soft blue light. Her eyes changed too. They lit up from the inside, showing implants behind them. Neural implants. Military grade. When the lights came back on, Ji-woo was no longer standing in the same place. She had moved 6 feet to the left, faster than any of them had seen. One of Hyun's soldiers was on the ground unconscious. His weapon was gone. Ji-woo now held the weapon in her hands. She pointed it at the ground, not at the soldiers. "Not yet, let me explain something," she said. Her voice was still calm, but now there was steel in it. "Your empire has been watching Earth for a long time. You think we're weak. You think we're easy prey. You think because we have soft skin and no claws we can't fight." She looked at each soldier one by one. "You're wrong." Hyun raised one of his 4 hands. "Fire!" he shouted. Energy bolts filled the cargo bay. Bright green shots from 20 weapons, all aimed at where Ji-woo stood. But she wasn't there anymore. She moved like water, like smoke, like something that couldn't be touched. The implants in her body made her faster than Vrelian eyes could follow. She rolled under the first wave of fire, came up behind a soldier, and struck him in the back of the neck. He fell. She took his weapon too. Now she had 2 guns. "Your second mistake," Ji-woo said, moving between shots, "was thinking I'm alone." Hyun felt his confidence draining away. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Humans were supposed to be afraid. They were supposed to surrender. He reached for his communicator. "All units, I need backup in the cargo bay." "The human is—" Ji-woo shot the communicator out of his hand. The energy bolt was precise, perfect. It destroyed the device without touching Hyun's skin. "No calling for help," she said. "Not yet. First we talk. 3 more soldiers rushed at her. Jiwoo moved between them like a dancer. She wasn't just fast, she was trained. Every movement had purpose. She struck pressure points that the Vrelians didn't even know they had. Bodies fell around her. Hyun backed toward the door. This was impossible. One human shouldn't be able to do this. His best soldiers were falling like children. "What are you?" he demanded. Jiwoo stopped moving. She stood among the fallen soldiers, not even breathing hard. "I'm Human Defense Force, Special Operations." "And this?" She gestured around the cargo bay. "This is a trap." Hyun felt fear for the first time in years. "A trap?" "Your empire has been planning to attack Daehan Station," Jiwoo said. "A human colony. 5,000 people live there, including my family. We knew you were coming, so I volunteered to be bait." She walked toward Hyun slowly. He wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. "The question is," Jiwoo continued, "do you want to walk back to your ship? Or do you want to end up like your soldiers?" Hyun looked at his troops. 15 of them were on the ground. Only 5 still stood, and they looked terrified. "We're leaving," he said quickly. "We won't attack any human colonies." Jiwoo shook her head. "Too late for that. You came into human space with weapons. You tried to take me prisoner. Your admiral has already given the order to attack Daehan Station, hasn't he?" Hyun said nothing. His silence was answer enough. "That's what I thought," Jiwoo said. She touched the side of her head where one of the implants was. Message sent. "Human command now knows where your fleet is. They'll be here soon." "You're bluffing," Hyun said, but his voice shook. "Am I?" Jiwoo smiled again. "You made 3 mistakes today, Captain. First, you thought you could disarm me. Second, you thought I was alone. And third, the biggest mistake of all, you thought humans were weak." She stepped aside, gesturing to the door. "Go back to your ship. Tell your admiral what happened here. Tell him that humanity doesn't forgive threats to our families. Tell him we're coming." Hyun ran. His remaining soldiers followed him, dragging their unconscious comrades. They rushed through the boarding tube and back to their warship. The tube disconnected with a hiss. On the bridge of his ship, Hyun immediately called Admiral Tae-yang. The admiral's face appeared on the screen, looking annoyed. "Captain Hyun, this better be important. We're preparing to attack the human colony." "Admiral," Hyun said, trying to keep his voice steady, "we have a problem. The human. She's not normal. She's a soldier, enhanced, dangerous. She says they know we're coming." Tae-yang's expression didn't change. "One human has frightened you?" "Admiral, you don't understand. She defeated 15 of my best soldiers in less than 5 minutes. She has military implants. She said this was a trap." For the first time, Tae-yang looked concerned. "Military implants? Are you certain?" "Yes, sir." And she sent a message before we left. She said human forces know our location. Tae-yang was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Abort the mission. Bring your ship back to the fleet. If the humans have begun enhancing their soldiers, this changes everything." "But sir, our pride—" "Forget pride," Tae-yang snapped. "I've read the old reports about Earth. Before they went to space, humans fought each other for thousands of years. They're good at war, very good. If they've started making super soldiers, we need to report this to the Emperor." Hyun wanted to argue, but he knew the Admiral was right. He'd seen what one enhanced human could do. He didn't want to meet 100 of them. "What about the colony?" Hyun asked. "We retreat. Now." But as Hyun's ship began to turn away, his scanner officer shouted a warning. "Captain, multiple contacts emerging from slipspace. 20, 30, 40 signatures!" Human warships appeared in the space around them like ghosts becoming solid. They were big, covered in weapons, and they moved with purpose. Jiwoo's message had been sent before Hyun even boarded her ship. The trap was already closing, and inside her small cargo vessel, Jiwoo sat down and took a deep breath. The first part was done. Now came the hard part, making sure her brother Minho and niece Eunji stayed safe. Making sure the Vrelians learned their lesson. She opened a communication channel to the nearest human warship. "This is Operative Jiwoo." The bait worked. "The fleet is here," a woman's voice responded, strong and confident. "Confirmed, Jiwoo. This is Admiral Subin. We've got it from here." "Good work," Jiwoo smiled. Sometimes being human meant being underestimated, and sometimes that was exactly what you wanted. Admiral Tae-yang sat in his command chair, watching the human ships appear on his screens. 40 human warships surrounded his fleet of 20 vessels. The numbers weren't good, but Vrelians had fought worse odds before. They were stronger than humans. They had better weapons. They would win, All ships battle formation, he ordered. Prepare to fire. But before his fleet could move, a message came through on all channels. A human woman's face appeared on every screen in every Vrelian ship. She wore a dark blue uniform with silver stars on the collar. Her expression was calm but cold. "I am Admiral Subin of the Human Defense Force," she said. "You entered human space with weapons. You attempted to capture one of our operatives, and we know you plan to attack Dihan Station, where 5,000 human civilians live. These are acts of war." Taeyang leaned forward. "We were simply exploring—" "Don't lie to me," Subin interrupted. "We've been monitoring your communications for months. We know everything. The question now is simple. Do you surrender or do you die?" Taeyang felt anger rise in his chest. How dare this human speak to him like that? The Vrelian Empire ruled 40 star systems. Earth had only 12 colonies. They were nothing. "We do not surrender to prey animals," Taeyang said coldly. "All ships, open fire!" Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. Green bolts from Vrelian ships shot toward the human fleet. But the human ships were ready. They moved faster than Vrelian vessels, and their shields absorbed the hits easily. Then the humans fired back. The difference was immediate and terrible. Human weapons were precise. Every shot hit exactly where it needed to. Vrelian shields went down. Engines exploded. In the first minute of battle, 3 Vrelian ships were crippled and drifting. "How are they this accurate?" Taeyang's tactical officer shouted. "They're using AI targeting systems," another officer reported. "Our sensors say each human ship has multiple artificial intelligence cores working together. They're predicting our movements before we make them." Taeyang watched in horror as another 2 ships lost power. This wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. "All ships retreat!" Emergency jump to slipspace. But when his ships tried to jump away, nothing happened. The slipspace drives wouldn't activate. "Admiral," his engineer said, voice shaking. "They're jamming us. We can't jump. We can't escape." Subin's face appeared on the screen again. "Did you think we'd let you run? You came here to hurt our people. Now you face the consequences. We surrender," Taeyang shouted. His pride was gone, replaced by fear. "We surrender." "Too late for that," Subin said. "You had a chance to leave peacefully. You chose war instead." Small human fighters launched from the warships, hundreds of them, like angry insects swarming around the Vrelian fleet. They moved in patterns that seemed chaotic but were actually perfectly coordinated. Every fighter knew exactly where every other fighter was. Inside one of those fighters sat Jae-Wan, a human pilot with 10 years of combat experience. His hands moved across the controls as his fighter dodged between Vrelian defense fire. The AI in his helmet showed him weak points on the enemy ships, places where armor was thin, where important systems were close to the surface. "Green Squadron, target the command ship's shield generators," he said into his radio. "Red Squadron, take out their weapons. Gold Squadron, engines. Copy that," came the responses from dozens of pilots. Jae-Wan's fighter dove toward Taeyang's flagship. Energy bolts shot past him, but his reflexes and the AI's predictions kept him safe. He fired 2 missiles at the shield generator. They hit perfectly. The shield flickered and died. "Shields down on the flagship," he reported, moving to secondary targets. Another pilot, a woman named Young Mi, led her squadron against a Vrelian cruiser. She'd been flying fighters since she was 18, and now at 32 she was one of the best. Her fighter spun and twisted through space like it was dancing. "Remember," she told her squadron, "we're not trying to destroy them. We want them alive. Disable only. Why are we being nice?" one of her pilots asked. "They tried to attack a civilian colony." "Because Admiral Subin wants them to go home and tell everyone what happened," Young Mi answered. "Dead enemies can't spread the word." She targeted the cruiser's engine pylons and fired. Her shots were perfect. The engines exploded, but the explosion was controlled, contained. The ship wouldn't blow up. It would just drift, powerless and helpless. On the flagship, Taeyang watched his fleet fall apart. Every ship was being systematically disabled. The humans worked like a machine, efficient and unstoppable. They weren't even trying to kill his crews. They were just taking away their ability to fight. It was humiliating. "Admiral," his communication officer said, "the humans are demanding we allow boarding parties." "No," Taeyang shouted. "We will not." His ship shook as something hit it. Not a weapon. Something had attached to the hull. Then another impact, and another. "They're boarding us anyway," the tactical officer said quietly. Human Marines cut through the hull in 12 places simultaneously. They wore powered armor that made them strong and fast. Each Marine carried weapons that could punch through Vrelian armor like it was paper. Sergeant Quan led one of the boarding teams. He was 40 years old with scars on his face from a dozen battles. He'd been fighting since he was 20, and he was very good at it. Remember the rules, he told his team as they entered the Vrelian ship. Disable, don't kill. We want prisoners, not bodies. The Vrelian soldiers inside the ship were waiting for them. They fired their weapons, but human shields absorbed the energy. The Marines moved forward steadily, like a wall of metal and determination. Quan raised his weapon and fired. The shot hit a Vrelian soldier in the chest. The energy was calibrated to stun, not kill. The soldier fell unconscious. Around Quan, his team did the same, moving through the ship room by room. The Vrelians were good fighters. They were strong and trained. But the humans were better. They'd spent thousands of years fighting each other before they went to space. War was in their blood, in their history, in their bones. They knew every trick, every tactic, every way to win. Within 30 minutes, the flagship was secured. Marines stood in every corridor, every room, every important space. Vrelian soldiers sat on the floor with their hands bound, looking shocked and defeated. Quan made his way to the bridge. The door was sealed, but his team placed charges on it. The door blew inward and smoke filled the bridge. When it cleared, Quan stepped through. Admiral Taeyang stood in the center of the bridge, surrounded by his officers. He raised two of his four hands in surrender. I am Sergeant Quan, Human Defense Force Marines, Quan said. You are now prisoners of war. Do you understand? Taeyang nodded slowly. His eyes showed confusion and fear.
How? He asked.
How are you this strong? Our intelligence said humans were weak, fragile, easy to conquer. Quan walked closer. He removed his helmet, showing his scarred face. Your intelligence was wrong, he said simply. Humans aren't weak. We're survivors. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. Predators, diseases, weather, other humans, everything wanted us dead. But we survived. We adapted. We learned to fight better than anyone else. He looked at each Vrelian officer. You thought we were prey because we don't have claws or armor or forearms. But humans don't need claws. We make weapons. We don't need armor. We make ships and shields. We don't need to be physically strong. We make machines that are strong for us. Taeyang sank into his command chair. We made a terrible mistake. Yes, Quan agreed. You did, and now everyone in the galaxy is going to know about it. Across the fleet, the same scene played out on every Vrelian ship. Human Marines boarded and captured them all. Not a single human died. Only a few were injured. The Vrelian fleet, which had thought it would easily conquer a human colony, was now completely defeated. On her flagship, Admiral Subin watched the reports come in. Every Vrelian ship captured. Every Vrelian soldier disarmed. It had taken less than 2 hours from start to finish. Send a message to Earth Command, she told her communication officer. Mission successful. Enemy fleet captured with minimal casualties on our side. 0 casualties on theirs. Yes, ma'am. Subin looked at the Vrelian ships on her screen. They were good ships, well designed and well armed. But ships didn't win wars. People did. And humans, despite their soft skin and lack of natural weapons, were very good at war. She opened a channel to Jiwoo's ship. Operative Jiwoo, this is Admiral Subin. The fleet is secure. You're clear to proceed to Daehan Station. Thank you, Admiral. Jiwoo's voice came back. Is my family safe? They never knew they were in danger. We made sure of that. Subin could hear the relief in Jiwoo's voice. Good, that's good. Jiwoo, Subin said. You did well today. Taking on that boarding party alone was risky. Someone had to be the bait, Jiwoo replied. Might as well be someone who could handle it. Subin smiled. Get some rest. You've earned it. She ended the call and turned back to her bridge crew. Prepare the prisoners for transport. We're taking them to Earth. The government will want to interrogate them, find out everything about the Vrelian Empire's military capabilities. What about their emperor? Her tactical officer asked. Won't he send more ships? Let him, Subin said. After today, I don't think he will. But if he does, we'll be ready. She looked out at the stars, thinking about the Vrelian Empire and all the other alien civilizations out there. So many of Jiwoo's ship moved through space toward Daehan Station. Her hands were steady on the controls, but inside, her heart was racing. The battle was over. The Vrelian fleet was captured. But she needed to see her family with her own eyes. She needed to know they were truly safe. The station appeared ahead, a spinning wheel of metal and lights against the darkness. It was home to 5,000 people, miners, farmers, engineers, families. Normal people living normal lives. They had no idea how close they'd come to slavery or death. Dahan Station. This is cargo ship Morningstar requesting permission to dock, Jiwoo said into her radio. Morningstar, you're cleared for docking bay 7, came the response. Welcome home, Jiwoo, she smiled. The station controller recognized her voice. That was good. It meant everything was normal here. No panic, no evacuation, no fear. Just another day. The ship docked with a soft clang. Jiwoo secured the controls and headed to the airlock. As the door opened, she saw a man waiting for her. He was tall and thin, with kind eyes and messy hair. Her brother Minho, Jiwoo, he said, pulling her into a hug. You're early. I thought you weren't coming back for another week. Plans changed, she said, hugging him back. She breathed in the familiar smell of his soap and smiled. Safe. He was safe. And Jiwoo. A young girl ran up and grabbed her hand. Yoonji was 8 years old, with bright eyes and a gap-toothed smile. Did you bring me anything from your trip? Jiwoo knelt down and pulled a small box from her pocket. Maybe, but only if you've been good. I've been very good, Yoonji said seriously. Papa said so. Then this is for you. Jiwoo handed her the box. Inside was a crystal from a moon she'd visited 3 months ago. It glowed softly in different colors. Yoonji's eyes went wide. It's beautiful. Just like you, Jiwoo said, ruffling her niece's hair. Minho watched them with a smile. Come on, let's get some food. You look tired. They walked through the station's corridors. People nodded at Jiwoo as she passed. She was known here as a cargo hauler, someone who brought supplies from other colonies. No one knew what she really did. No one knew she was a soldier. It was better that way. In Minho's apartment, they sat around a small table eating rice and vegetables. Yoonji talked about her school and her friends. Minho talked about his work in the station's hydroponics bay, growing food for everyone. Normal conversation. Safe conversation. But Jiwoo couldn't stop thinking about what had almost happened. If the Vrelian fleet had attacked, this apartment would be rubble. Minho and Yoonji would be prisoners or worse. Are you okay? Minho asked, noticing her silence. I'm fine, Jiwoo lied. Just tired from the trip. After dinner, when Yoonji was in bed, Minho and Jiwoo sat together drinking tea. Something happened, Minho said. It wasn't a question. Jiwoo looked at her brother. He'd always been able to read her. Even when they were children, he knew when something was wrong. I can't tell you the details, she said quietly. But yes, something happened. Something bad was going to happen here at the station. But it's over now. You're safe. Minho was quiet for a moment. Does this have to do with your real job? The one you don't talk about? Yes. Are you in danger? I'm always in danger, Jiwoo said. That's the job. But I'm good at it. And I do it so people like you and Yoonji can live normal lives. Minho reached over and squeezed her hand. Thank you. For whatever you did. For keeping us safe. Always, Jiwoo said. That's what family does. The next morning, Jiwoo's communicator buzzed. It was Admiral Subin. Jiwoo, we need you back at the fleet, the Admiral said. We're interrogating the Vrelian prisoners. Some of them are asking to speak with you specifically. Why me? Because you're the one who showed them what humans can do. Captain Hyun especially wants to talk to you. He says he has information. Jiwoo thought about it. She was tired. She wanted to stay with her family. But duty called. I'll be there in 2 hours. She said goodbye to Minho and Yoonji, promising to visit again soon. Then she flew her ship back to the human fleet. The captured Vrelian ships were under heavy guard. Human warships surrounded them, weapons ready. Inside one of the ships, the prisoners were being held in their own cells, guarded by Marines. Jiwoo walked through the corridors with Sergeant Kwan beside her. How are they handling captivity? She asked. Better than expected, Kwan said. They're cooperative. Scared mostly. I think they're starting to understand what it means to be human. They stopped at a cell holding Captain Hyun. The Vrelian captain sat on a bench, his forearms folded. When he saw Jiwoo, he stood up. You wanted to speak with me? Jiwoo said. Yes, Hyun said. His voice was different now. Less arrogant. More respectful. I need to tell you something. Something important. I'm listening. Hyun looked at the guards, then back at Jiwoo. The attack on this station, it wasn't random. The Vrelian Empire has been planning it for months. We've been watching Earth and all your colonies, studying you. We thought humans were weak because you look weak. No claws, no scales, no natural armor. We know you thought that, Jiwoo said. You were wrong, very wrong, Hyun agreed. But that's not all. The Empire has been contacting other species, other civilizations. We've been forming an alliance. 10 different species have agreed to help us conquer human space and divide it among ourselves. Jiwoo felt her blood go cold. 10 species? Yes, the Empire, the Krell Dominion, the Saurian Collective, and 7 others. Together we have thousands of ships. We thought it would be easy to defeat humans. When is this alliance supposed to attack? Jiwoo demanded. That's the thing, Hyun said. It was supposed to start with the attack on this station. Our success here would be the signal for the others to begin their attacks on different human colonies. But we failed. And now, he looked down at his hands. Now I don't know what will happen. Jiwoo turned to Kwon. Get Admiral Subin now, she needs to hear this. 20 minutes later, they were in a conference room with Admiral Subin, several other high-ranking officers, and Captain Hyun. Tell them everything, Jiwoo said to Hyun. Every detail about this alliance. Hyun talked for an hour. He told them about the meetings between the different species. He told them about the planned attacks, which colonies were targeted, how many ships each species would send. He gave them names, dates, locations. Why are you telling us this? Subin asked. You're betraying your own empire. Because I finally understand, Hyun said. Humans aren't weak. You're dangerous. Very dangerous. And if my empire goes to war with you, we'll lose. I've seen what one human soldier can do. He looked at Jiwoo. I've seen what your fleet can do. If thousands of human ships fight against the Alliance, it won't be a war. It will be a slaughter, and my people will be the ones dying. Subin looked at her officers. We need to contact Earth Command immediately. If 10 species are planning to attack us, we need to prepare. With respect, Admiral, one of the officers said. Maybe we should strike first. Hit them before they hit us. No, Subin said firmly. We're not starting a galactic war. But we will make sure everyone knows we can defend ourselves. She turned back to Hyun. Thank you for this information. It may have saved millions of lives. Human and alien lives, what will you do to me? Hyun asked. That depends on what happens next, Subin said. If your information is accurate, if it helps us prevent a war, then we'll treat you well. You'll be a prisoner, but a respected one. If you're lying to us. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. I'm not lying, Hyun said quietly. I'm trying to save my people from a war they can't win. Over the next week, human intelligence confirmed everything Hyun said. The alliance was real. The planned attacks were real. Earth Command called an emergency meeting with representatives from all human colonies. Jiwoo was asked to attend as a witness. She stood in front of hundreds of people and told them about the Vrelian boarding party, about the fleet, about the alliance. We face a choice, said General Dong Hyun, the head of Human Defense Force. We can wait for them to attack us, or we can show them why attacking us would be a mistake. What do you suggest? Asked Minister Hai-jin, the civilian leader of Earth's government. We send a message, Dong Hyun said. A clear, unmistakable message. We show the galaxy what humans are capable of. We demonstrate our strength, and we make it very, very clear that anyone who attacks human space will regret it. You want to threaten them? Hye-jin asked. No, Dong Hyun said. I want to educate them. There's a difference. A plan was formed. Human ships would visit each species in the alliance. They would bring recordings of the battle, showing how easily the Vrelian fleet was defeated. They would bring data about human military capabilities. They would bring a simple message. Leave us alone and we leave you alone. Attack us and you lose. Jiwoo was asked to be part of the delegation. She didn't want to. She wanted to stay with her family. But she understood the importance of the mission. I'll go, she said. But after this, I want a break. A real one. No missions, no battles, no danger. Agreed, Subin said. After this, you've earned a long rest. Before the delegation left, Jiwoo visited Daehan Station one more time. She had dinner with Minho and Yoonji. Are you leaving again? Hyunji asked sadly. Just for a little while, Jiwoo said. But when I come back... The human delegation arrived at Krell Prime 3 days later. The planet was red and hot with 3 suns burning in the sky. The Krell had evolved in heat and fire, and their cities reflected that. All metal and stone built to withstand extreme temperatures. Admiral Subin commanded the delegation ship. Beside her on the bridge stood Jiwoo, General Dong Hyun, and Ambassador Sujin, a diplomat with 20 years of experience negotiating with alien species. "They're hailing us," the communication officer said. "Put them through," Subin ordered. A Krell appeared on the screen. He was massive, over 8 feet tall, covered in red scales with yellow eyes that blazed like fire. He wore armor made of black metal and carried weapons on his belt. "I am War Leader Zath of the Krell Dominion," he said. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stones. "State your purpose here, humans." "I am Admiral Subin," she replied calmly. "We're here to discuss your alliance with the Vrelian Empire." Zath's eyes narrowed. "The alliance is none of your concern. Leave our space before we force you to leave." "We know about the planned attacks on human colonies," Subin continued as if he hadn't spoken. "We know you've agreed to help the Vrelians conquer human space. We're here to give you a chance to reconsider." Zath laughed. It was a harsh, mocking sound. "Reconsider? Why would we reconsider? Humans are weak. You have no claws, no scales, no strength. You're prey, not predators." "Is that what the Vrelians told you?" Subin asked. "Yes, they showed us your biology, your fragile bodies, your soft skin. The Krell have fought for thousands of years. We know weakness when we see it." Subin looked at Jiwoo and nodded. Jiwoo stepped forward. "War Leader Zath," she said. "My name is Jiwoo. I'm the human who captured the Vrelian boarding party single-handedly. I'd like to show you something." She sent a data file to the Krell ship. It was a recording from her cargo bay showing her defeating 15 Vrelian soldiers in minutes. Zath watched in silence. When it ended, he looked less certain. "One human. Enhanced with technology. This proves nothing." "Then watch this," Subin said, sending another file. This one showed the space battle. 40 human ships defeating 20 Vrelian vessels without losing a single ship. It showed human fighters dancing through enemy fire. It showed Marines boarding and capturing entire ships in minutes. Zath's expression changed. The mockery was gone, replaced by something else. Concern. "The Vrelians told us they were the strongest military in the galaxy," he said slowly. "They lied," Subin said, "or they didn't know the truth. But now you've seen what happened when they attacked us. We didn't just defeat them. We captured their entire fleet without killing a single Vrelian. We could have destroyed them all. We chose mercy. Why show us this?" Zath demanded. "Because we don't want a war," Ambassador Sujin said, stepping forward. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. "We know about the alliance. We know 10 species are planning to attack human colonies. But we're offering you a choice. Walk away from this alliance, leave human space alone, and we'll leave you alone. And if we refuse," Zath asked, "then you'll lose," Dong Hyun said simply. "You'll send ships. They'll be captured or destroyed. You'll send more ships. Same result. Eventually, you'll run out of ships, or you'll realize the war is unwinnable. But by then, how many of your people will be dead? How many of your ships will be scrap metal floating in space?" Zath was quiet for a long moment. "The Krell don't back down from fights." "This isn't about backing down," Sujin said. "This is about being smart. You pride yourselves on honor and strength. Where's the honor in joining 9 other species to attack one? Where's the strength in that? It looks like you're afraid of humans. Like you need help to fight us." That struck a nerve. Jiwoo could see it in Zath's eyes. The Krell valued individual strength and honor above everything. The idea that they looked weak bothered him. "You're saying we should abandon our allies?" Zath asked. "We're saying you should reconsider who your allies are," Subin said. "The Vrelians are proven liars. They told you humans were weak. They were wrong." "What else have they lied about?" "Give us time to think," Zath said, "and to verify your claims." "Take all the time you need," Subin replied. "But know this, we're visiting every species in the Alliance. We're showing them all the same recordings. We're giving them all the same choice. Some will be smart and walk away. Others will be foolish and attack anyway. Choose wisely which group you belong to." The communication ended. Zath's face disappeared from the screen. "Do you think he'll listen?" Dong Hyun asked. "Maybe," Subin said. "The Krell respect strength. We showed them we're strong. Now they have to decide if their pride is more important than their survival." The delegation moved on to the next species. The Saurian Collective, a group of lizard-like beings who lived on cold, icy planets. Then the Arachnoid Hive, spider creatures who communicated through clicking sounds. Then the methane breathers, gas-based life forms that humans could barely understand. Each time, The pattern was the same. The aliens were arrogant at first, dismissive of human strength. Then they saw the recordings. Then they became quiet and thoughtful. Some species were more stubborn than others. The Saurians insisted they would still attack, that humans got lucky against the Vrelians. Subin simply shrugged and said, "Your choice. We'll be ready." Others, like the methane breathers, immediately agreed to withdraw from the alliance. They'd only joined because they thought it would be an easy victory. Now that they knew it wouldn't be easy, they wanted no part of it. After 2 weeks of traveling and negotiating, the delegation returned to Earth. They'd visited all 10 species. The results were mixed. 4 species agreed to withdraw from the alliance. 3 were unsure. 3, including the Saurians, insisted they would still attack. In a meeting room at Earth Command headquarters, the delegation presented their findings. "So we stopped 4 of them," General Dong-Hyun said. "That leaves 6 potential enemies, including the Vrelian Empire. 6 is better than 10, Subin pointed out. And the 3 who are unsure might change their minds once they see what happens to the first species that attacks us." "You're suggesting we use the next attack as another demonstration?" asked Minister Hyejin. "Exactly," Subin said. "Let them come. Let them attack. And let them fail. Word will spread. After that, I think the other species will reconsider." "What if they all attack at once?" someone asked. "Then we fight them all at once," Dong-Hyun said. "And we win." Humanity didn't survive millions of years by giving up when things got hard. A vote was taken. It was decided. Earth would prepare for war but would not strike first. If the alliance attacked, humanity would defend itself with overwhelming force. Jiwoo sat in her apartment on Earth watching the news. Reports were everywhere about the potential war. People were scared, but they trusted the military. They trusted that humanity would survive. Her communicator buzzed. It was Minho. "I saw the news," her brother said. "Is it true? Are we going to be attacked?" "Maybe," Jiwoo admitted. "But if they come, we're ready. You and Yoonji are safe." "I promise. And how can you promise that?" "Because I've seen what our military can do. I've seen our ships, our weapons, our soldiers. The aliens think we're weak, Minho. But they're so wrong. We're not weak. We're the most dangerous thing in the galaxy." 2 months later, the attack came. Not from all 6 remaining species, but from one, the Saurians. They sent a fleet of 30 ships to attack a human mining colony on the edge of human space. Admiral Subin led the defense personally. She brought 50 ships and thousands of fighters. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it was over, all 30 Saurian ships were captured. Their crews were prisoners. Not a single human ship was lost. Subin sent a message to the Saurian collective's government. "This is what happens when you attack human space. We could have killed your crews, but we chose mercy. Consider this your only warning. Attack us again and you won't get a second chance." The recordings of the battle were broadcast across the galaxy. Every species saw them. Every government watched as human ships dominated the Saurians with ease. Within a week, the alliance collapsed completely. The Vrelian Empire withdrew all military forces from near-human space. The Krell Dominion sent an official message of apology and a request for a non-aggression pact. The other species followed suit. The war that could have killed millions ended before it truly began. In the aftermath, human ships patrolled the borders of human space with new confidence. The message was clear: humanity was not prey. Humanity was not weak. Anyone who thought otherwise would learn the truth the hard way. Jiwoo received a medal for her role in preventing the war. She accepted it in a quiet ceremony with her family present. Kunji was very proud of her aunt, even though she didn't fully understand what Jiwoo had done. "Are you going to keep being a soldier?" Minho asked after the ceremony. "For a while longer," Jiwoo said. "There's still work to do. But eventually, yes, I'll retire. Maybe teach at the academy, train new soldiers, pass on what I've learned." "What have you learned?" Jiwoo thought about it. That looking weak isn't the same as being weak. That humans survive because we're adaptable and smart and unwilling to quit. That sometimes the best way to avoid a war is to show everyone you can win it. She looked at her niece playing with her glowing crystal. "And that the most important thing worth fighting for is family. Everything else is secondary," Minho smiled. "That's a good lesson." 6 months after the failed alliance, the galaxy was a different place. Trade routes that had been closed to humans were now open. Species that had ignored Earth were now sending ambassadors. The Vrelian Empire, once planning to conquer human space, was now requesting permission to build an embassy on Earth. In the capital city of Earth, Ambassador Su Jin met with representatives from 12 different alien civilizations. They sat in a large conference room, discussing trade agreements and cultural exchanges. The mood was friendly, respectful. It hadn't always been this way. The Vrelian Empire wishes to purchase human medical technology, said the Vrelian ambassador, a female named Kira. She was smaller than most Vrelians, with lighter green skin and intelligent eyes. Our scientists believe your regenerative techniques could save millions of lives. We're willing to share medical technology, Su Jin replied. But we want something in return. Access to your slipspace navigation data. Our ships can jump between stars, but your calculations are more precise. That technology would help us explore further, Kira nodded. That seems fair. We'll present your offer to the Emperor. A Krell representative spoke next. The Krell Dominion also wishes to trade. We have mining techniques that work in high-gravity environments, techniques that could help human colonies on heavy planets. In exchange for? Su Jin asked. Your AI technology, the Krell said. The artificial intelligence systems in your ships, your weapons, your factories. We've seen what they can do. They're far ahead of anything we have, Su Jin smiled. We can share some AI technology, but the military-grade systems, the ones you saw in the battle recordings, those remain restricted. For security reasons, I'm sure you understand. The Krell nodded. They understood. Everyone in the room understood. Humanity was willing to be friendly, willing to trade and share, but they kept their best weapons to themselves. Just in case. After the meeting, Su Jin walked through the city streets. Earth had changed in the past 6 months. Alien tourists visited now, taking pictures of human architecture and eating human food. Some species found Earth's gravity too strong or too weak, its air too oxygen-rich or too thin, but they adapted, using technology to make themselves comfortable. Humans and aliens living together. 6 months ago, it seemed impossible. Now it was normal. Su Jin's communicator buzzed. It was General Dong Hyun. Ambassador, we need you at the command center. Something's happened. What kind of something? The kind that needs immediate attention. I'll brief you when you arrive. 20 minutes later, Su Jin stood in the command center watching a star map. Red dots showed alien civilizations that had been part of the Alliance. Blue dots showed human colonies. And in the middle, a new dot, yellow blinking. What am I looking at? Su Jin asked. A signal, Dong Hyun said. We received it an hour ago from deep space. It's from a species we've never encountered before. They call themselves the Hierarchy. What do they want? To meet us. They say they've heard about humans defeating the Vrelian Alliance. They want to see for themselves if the stories are true. Is this a threat? Su Jin asked carefully. We don't think so, said Admiral Subin, who stood nearby. The message was polite, curious. They're not demanding anything, just requesting a meeting. Who are they? According to our analysis, they're an old civilization. Very old. They've been in space for over 10,000 years. Most species fear them because they're powerful, but they rarely interfere in galactic affairs. They mostly observe. Su Jin thought about it. And now they want to observe us? Apparently, we've gotten their attention. When do they want to meet? 3 days from now. At neutral coordinates, they're sending one ship. They've requested that we send one ship. Who are we sending? Subin smiled. I thought I'd go. And I thought Jiwoo might like to come along. Jiwoo was on Daehan Station when she got the message. She'd been living there for the past 3 months, spending time with Minho and Yoonji. She'd even started teaching at the station's small school, helping kids learn basic self-defense. It was peaceful, quiet, exactly what she needed after everything that had happened. But when Admiral Subin called and explained about the hierarchy, Jiwoo knew she couldn't say no. I'll be there, she said. You don't have to do this, Subin told her. You've done enough. More than enough, I know. But I want to see this through. We changed the galaxy. I want to know what the oldest civilization in the galaxy thinks about that. 3 days later, a human ship arrived at the neutral coordinates. It was a small diplomatic vessel, armed but not threatening. On board were Admiral Subin, Jiwoo, Ambassador Su Jin, and a crew of 20. The hierarchy's ship was already there, waiting. It was enormous, larger than any ship the humans had ever seen. It was silver and smooth with no visible weapons or engines. It just floated in space like a giant piece of art. They're hailing us, the communication officer said. Accept, Subin ordered. A face appeared on the screen. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. The being had pale blue skin, large black eyes, and a thin, delicate frame. It wore robes that seemed to shimmer with light. I am Observer Tal of the Hierarchy, the being said. Its voice was soft and melodic. Thank you for meeting with us. I'm Admiral Subin. This is Ambassador Sujin and Operative Jiwoo. We're honored to meet you. The honor is ours, Tal said. We've been watching your species for some time. We knew you had potential. But what you've accomplished recently has exceeded our expectations. What do you mean by potential? Sujin asked. Tal's expression was hard to read, but it seemed almost like a smile. Every few thousand years, a new species joins the galactic community. Most follow predictable patterns. They explore, they colonize, they fight for resources, they make alliances. Eventually, they find their place in the order of things. And humans are different? Jiwoo asked. Very different, Tal said. Most species enter space with confidence because they evolved as predators. They have claws, teeth, venom, size. They know they're dangerous. But humans evolved as prey. We weren't prey, Subin said. We were survivors. Exactly, Tal agreed. You survived everything your world threw at you. You survived predators by becoming smarter than them. You survived disease by developing medicine. You survived each other by learning strategy and tactics. You're the only species we've encountered that reached the top of their food chain, purely through intelligence and adaptability. Is that why you wanted to meet us? Sujin asked. Partially, Tal said. But also because of what you did to the Vrelian Alliance. You could have destroyed them. Your military power was sufficient. Instead, you captured them. You showed mercy. Then you gave them a choice, peace or war. Most species don't do that. Most species either conquer or are conquered. We believe in giving people choices, Sujin said. We believe most conflicts happen because of misunderstandings. The Vrelians didn't misunderstand, Tal pointed out. They knew they were attacking you. They planned to enslave your colonies. Yes, Jiwoo said, but they misunderstood what we are. They thought we were weak. We proved them wrong without unnecessary killing. Now they know better, and other species learned from their mistake. Tal was quiet for a moment. The hierarchy has observed many civilizations rise and fall. We've seen empires that conquered hundreds of worlds. We've seen species that destroyed themselves in nuclear fire. We've seen beautiful cultures vanish because they couldn't adapt to change. But we've rarely seen a species like yours, one that can be both gentle and deadly, merciful and dangerous. Is that a compliment or a warning? Subin asked. It's an observation, Tal said. And an invitation. The hierarchy would like to establish formal relations with humanity. We'd like to share knowledge, culture, and technology. We believe humanity will play an important role in the future of the galaxy. What kind of role? Sujin asked. That's for you to decide, Tal said. But we hope you'll choose to be what you've already shown you can be. Survivors who help others survive. Predators who protect the prey. Fighters who prefer peace. The meeting lasted several hours. They discussed trade, cultural exchanges, and a mutual defense pact. The hierarchy offered access to their vast libraries of knowledge. Science, history, art from 10,000 years of observation. In return, they asked only for friendship and the chance to continue observing humanity's development. When the meeting ended and the human ship was heading back to Earth, Jiwoo stood looking out a window at the stars. Sujin joined her. What are you thinking? I'm thinking about how fast things have changed, Jiwoo said. 6 months ago, we were preparing for a war that could have killed billions. Now we're making friends with the oldest civilization in the galaxy. Do you trust them? Sujin asked. I don't know them well enough to trust them completely, Jiwoo admitted. But I think they're genuinely interested in us, and having allies is better than having enemies. True, Sujin agreed. The galaxy is a big place. The more friends we have, the safer everyone is. They stood in comfortable silence for a while. Then Jiwoo said, I've decided something. After we get back to Earth, I'm going to retire, officially. You sure? Yes, I've done my part. I helped show the galaxy that humans aren't weak. Now it's time for other people.